Welcome back to Core Motivations Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Connolly. I'm a certified Enneagram coach and a Symbis marriage coach. If this is your first time here, I just want to welcome you. You have stumbled upon an incredible community. And for those returning, thanks again for not only committing to yourself, but committing to growth through this podcast and the information shared. Well, here we are, another week. You made it. Great job. Okay, so quick recap. Operation Change Zip Codes. We did it. We bought the house, we signed the papers, and now we're going to take a quick jaunt to Arizona and back. And when I say quick, it's a there and back. I get to see the house in person. Did I tell you my husband were my eyes when we were looking for houses? So finally, I am going to get to see it for the first time. I'll let you know how it went. I'm really excited. I don't know if you could tell. I'm kind of being a little low key about it. I know you came all this way to hear something helpful and encouraging. So without further ado, here it is. I often, over many years on this earth, have been the kind of person that is first to offer apologies and quick at forgiving of wrongs. You know, the things that people do that are hurtful. Now, I don't know if my family would see that that's what I do. I would hope that they do, but maybe that's not true. But what I've learned from this perspective and process is that it affords me space. Now, maybe I'm being a little naive about that. The feelings and experiences might be operating in the background, like on a computer where things are operating in the background. We can't see them, but they're doing their job. I'm okay with not being able to see those things. And as midlife stockmen would say, it's not perfect, but it's better. Where am I going with this? How is this teaching me or you, all of us, boundaries? You know, this is my dance space. Have you heard of that? This is your dance space that we're creating that separation between us and what's happening or how somebody's behaving. And it allows us to show up for ourselves, for you and me, each of us doing that for ourselves. I don't know about you, but it's terribly hard to do that. But if we don't, then what does that say of our worth? You know, the belief in your own value, independent of those external validations. Ooh, that's hard, right? I keep thinking about the differences between men and women. So maybe guys may not struggle with this, or maybe some do. But as a woman, my personal experiences throughout my life and starting in childhood have taught me to make myself small in every way. But I think I've had about enough of that. It's time to take the mistakes made and use them to grow. We talk a lot about core motivations. So, how about the way that relates to core values? Allowing yourself to identify your strengths and even weaknesses, because knowing those can be very helpful. And just a little side note, we're going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses in future episodes as it pertains to each type. So, through this, you have now given space to recognize your authentic self. And something we talk about often is boundaries. So, what does that look like? Well, here's some pretty big things. We need to start with self acceptance. I know that part is hard. Okay, maybe that's more for me or you too. Here's another one. It's a big one too. Forgiving yourself. I find that to be very difficult. So easy to forgive other people, but to forgive yourself for the things that are not the way you would want them to be coming from you. And then finally, being there for yourself. What does that look like in your life? To be there for yourself. We always ask people to show up for you. I ask my spouse to show up for me, whether it's in a conversation or in different ways in my life. But what about showing up for yourself? And I have to say that as an Enneagram 2, I am more focused on others and I forget to take care of myself. These things, they're difficult, but I need them. I'm guessing you do too. So remember how we've been talking about your 5 good? Well, I wanted to share mine. So, my 5 good. I had a quick visit with a friend. I got to talk to my bestie. I sure miss her. I got my hair done. Shout out to Candace at Shampoo Dolls. I got hugs from my hubby. Oh, and we bought a house. What are your 5 good? Okay, here we go. Legal stuff. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute the professional advice. This podcast is not a substitute for medical care. The materials, movies, videos, or books referred to in this podcast are for recommendations only, and the views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast host. That's me, or sponsors. Join me each week as we dive into all things Enneagram, self care ideas, self love patterns and rhythms, share ideas from other reputable authors, doctors, and my favorite podcasters. A big thank you to you for being here with me today on Core Motivations Podcast. Now, I know you've heard me say this many times before, but truly, thanks for supporting our podcast as it just couldn't be done without all of you. So hit the follow button, share this podcast with somebody, and please leave a review. You can find me, Michelle, on Instagram at Core Motivations _coach, or you can email me, Michelle, at coremotivationscoach.com. So let me leave you with this. Until next time, and as always, I'm rooting for you.